Hello and welcome to the F1 in Schools 2021 Regional Finals Review Show. My name's Mark, I'll be hosting the show again with my esteemed colleague again, our Master of Measurements, Mr. Nelson Vale. Nels.
Hello everyone.
An emotional experience this, hasn't it?
Oh, very emotional. It was great. It was great to do all of the racing shows and the award shows, and now we finally come to this moment. But what a ride.
What a ride indeed. Well, let's have a quick look at what's going to come up over the next half an hour or so in the review show. Now, so we're going to have a quick look back and just refresh ourselves on what happened around the regions. I mean, so much time, so many regions have passed. I think this is our 27th show of the series this year. So we're just going to refresh, for our sake more than anything else, on exactly who the winners and the national finalists were from around the UK. We're going to have a quick look back at the amazing work and just a couple of highlights from our studio experts who, of course, I think made the shows really, Nels.
Definitely.
Took the spotlight away from these two idiots and were exceptional. So we'll have a quick look back at the experts. We're going to have a look behind the scenes here at F1 in Schools HQ. Yeah, just to show you a little bit more about how we've done the regionals, how we've filmed this year's events, and then just because it seemed a bit of a shame to leave them out, we've left a few bits in there of when shows go wrong, when it didn't quite happen the way we wanted to here in the studio. So that's all coming up over the next, probably half an hour or so, isn't it, Nels? So like we said, first things first, let's refresh ourselves on exactly what happened as we headed around the country in the regional finals. And Nelson, we're going to start with the primary class. Of course, the first year ever of the F1 in Schools primary class with a brand new set of rules. So let's have a quick look and remind ourselves on what happened around the country. So we kicked off, Nelson, if you remember. I mean, it seems so long ago now, doesn't it? But we kicked off in the north and east with the primary class. And it was indeed Speedy Wheels taking the overall honours as our regional champions up there in the north and the east. Nels, I think that was the event where you got a particular affinity for glittery cars.
Yeah, you know, I love the glitter on the car. So
yeah, we've been reminded of that. I think Daring Dolphins were up there as well for use of glitter. Of course, from the north and east, we then went down in the opposite direction to the south and the west. And Nels, I think we were probably getting a bit delirious at this point, but late at night we were giving it the for the Wind Wolves, who took overall honours for the south and west. Well done again, Wind Wolves, and thank you for providing us with a moment of hysteria here in the studio late at night as we recorded your award show. We went across then to the capital, Nels, to London, and of course it was caught red-handed from St Joseph's College there, taking the overall victory, taking their regional finals. And a really impressive performance it was too. Across then we went to Wales for the Battle of the Welsh teams, and it was Blue Darts in the end, firing their way towards victory. So Blue Darts coming out as Welsh regional champions, and then last but not least, indeed the biggest regional final of the season, we saw Fire Phoenix indeed rising to the challenge, Nels, and taking the overall victory for the Isle of Wight regional final. Well, I mean, I said it before, this was the first ever year of the F1 in Schools primary class, and it's been quite an eye-opener, hasn't it? Those teams really stepped up.
Yes, and during these difficult times, I think it was absolutely mind-blowing to see how the teams prepared and to what it's something new. So this is supposed to be your entry level into a fantastic journey that may take you into into the secondary competition with entry, development and professional class, and maybe, who knows, really up to the world finals.
Yeah, a long way to go for the teams, but a really exciting journey can await, can't it?
You need to start somewhere.
Exactly, you got to start somewhere. You got to start in, I mean, this is the equivalent, isn't it, I guess, of starting in go-karts and then moving into Formula 3, Formula 2, and eventually Formula 1. Well, should we see what happens in the secondary competition now? So let's remind ourselves then, when we go around the secondary regional finals, when we move into entry, development and professional class. So, of course, this time around now, so we're looking not just for regional champions and winners, but also for national finalists. So, our quest began in Scotland, didn't it, Nels? The national finalists coming through were Vortex, Haste, Fibonacci, Enhanced Racing and Paxson Fusion. With the class wins there for Vortex and Fibonacci, but of course overall honours in the end went to Fibonacci, who came out our Scottish regional champions. Now over to you. The next one was the North, our home territory.
So in the North, we had teams going through Zenith Racing, Velocity, Six Gear, Nebula Racing, SBA Avidity Racing, and Hex Racing, with Velocity, Zenith, and SBA taking the main trophies. And in the end, SBA took the honors with, I recall, Mark, also a really fast car.
Yeah, very fast indeed. And SBA Avidity Racing, I think they're one to watch, aren't they, Nelson? They're one who's been to a World Finals before. And they went through a course in 2019 from the development class. Went to Abu Dhabi alongside Lawrence, of course, one of our studio experts, and put in a really pretty good display at the World Finals there. I think they came in the top 20 at the World Finals. And have now come back and are really, really gunning for it. They had a little bit of a learning year last year at the UK Nationals, where of course they had an issue out on track, as Lawrence mentioned in the live show. But yeah, SBA Avidity Racing really, I think, the bit between their teeth this year and gunning for the Worlds. But yeah, some smashing performances there, and Lawrence especially was really complimentary of the efforts of Hex Racing and also Nebula Racing, who we'd hope to see back there at the Nationals as well. So yeah, really interesting. From the north, then we moved on down to the west, so the south and the west together. And from this group, the national finalists were Project Viper, Eclipse, Momentum Racing, and Energia, who we debated the pronunciation of on multiple occasions. Class wins there were for JMB Racing, Project Viper, and Momentum Racing, with the overall honours of regional champions going to Momentum Racing. Well done to you all. From the west, Nelson, we moved across to the east.
And in the east, we had Black Shark Racing, Cosmos, Apex Racing, and Infinite Aquarius going through, with class winners to Real Velocidad, Black Shark Racing, and Apex Racing.
Yeah, just going to mention it once again, Real Velocidad, love the football pun there.
So Apex Racing taking it with a very good looking car.
Yeah, beautiful car. I mean, they've got a bit of a history, haven't they, Sproulston, of making really pretty cars for the national finals. I remember Mawson Blackout, of course, who were there at Airbus in 2019. There's a strong history of F1 in Schools national finals contenders. Can this be the year that Sproulston make it through to a World Finals, though, Nelson? I mean, it's been a long, long time, hasn't it, since back in the glory days of, what was it, 2010, 2011. The era of Red Set Racing, and of course
the memories.
Our good friend Ryan Claybon doing his best to cement a legacy that actually did turn into a legacy, because they named a cafe after Ryan's team in the school. So maybe this is the year. Maybe the Apex Cafe can take shape this year. Who knows? Anyway, Nelson, from the east, we then went down to London, and our first stop in London was for London North, where Marlin, Vertex Racing, Anamoy Racing, Eclipse, Team IQ and Vulcan Racing made it through to the UK National Finals, with class wins for Blue Wyvern, Marlin and Eclipse. The overall winners of the regional final and regional champs were indeed Eclipse. We've seen from Eclipse quite a lot this year, Nelson. They've, if anybody's been watching and anyone's been keeping up with the website, Eclipse have actually been doing a live week-by-week blog of their regional finals build-up and experience. And if you haven't checked it out, it's a cracking little read, actually. Lots of multimedia, it's written accounts, it's videos, it's low photos, it's their story of how they got to
It's available on
f1inschools.co.uk. And yeah, it's a really interesting one. I mean, it's an amazing achievement, really, to say that they've come through as regional champions and have had the time and brain space to do what is a really good blog.
Great story there.
Yeah, for the website. So congratulations again to Eclipse and all the teams from London North going through to the national finals and coming back next year. Nels, next it was London South.
And in London South we had Tectonic, we had Protonic, Impulse Racing, Golden Motorsport, Pulsar and Imperium going through, with the class winners being Fusion, Protonic and Imperium. And then Imperium has the place going through, and with big hopes, I think.
Yeah, big hopes and big aspirations. I guess big shoes to fill as well. I mean, coming, straight after Robert May's school took the World Championship trophy. They took the World Finals trophy just a couple of weeks ago, nearly a month ago. And Britannia Red are currently the reigning world champions. Yeah, so Imperium, big shoes to fill there, but we think they've probably got what it takes, but it's going to be stiff competition at this year's UK Nationals, Nelson, so intriguing to see where they all stack up. Right, from London South, then we moved over into Wales, And in Wales, the UK national finalists going forward to the next stage of the competition were Imperium, Hypernova, Team Firestorm, Astra and Blackout, with class wins for Team Extreme, Hypernova and Blackout. And just to say them a third time, the overall winners were Blackout. Yeah, really impressive. And again, Nelson, another team with World Finals experience, of course, having gone through, just like SBA Avidity did in 2019 from the development class. That was a really interesting year that we took 2 teams from the UK development class national finals, and both performed incredibly well at the World Finals, and then came back and have just turned into these extreme teams back in the UK. So it just shows that it's the experience, isn't it, that counts in F1 in schools, competing against teams who are better than you. So if you're not up there on the leaderboard at the moment, don't take dismay from that. Take inspiration from it and go, okay, well these are the people we've got to beat. There's some genuinely world-class teams all over the UK. Well, that was it, Nelson. That was the end of the UK regional finals roundup. So I mean, tons and tons of noteworthy standout performances, but one race in particular, Nelson, caught our eye, didn't it?
Yes.
And it was that moment.
What a moment.
That moment during the Welsh regional finals where truly it was a blink and you'll miss it moment. Let's relive now what has now become officially the fastest car in this year's UK regional finals. And we're ready to head out then for race number 3.
Race number 3. So again, we have swapped lanes, Blackout in lane 1, Astra in lane 2. And we have Blackout with a 1.057.
Oh, wow. That's
Whoa!
Cool. That's caught everybody in the studio by surprise. Where did that time come from?
Wow.
Wow, Blackout, you just put one heck of a marker down. I mean, that is... Nelson, have we seen a car go that quick anywhere else yet? I'm not sure we have.
I don't think so.
That is going to be right. I mean, Astra, that is no slouch, 1.105. But
I just hope and pray that Blackout has a fully compliant car.
Come on, Blackout, let's hope you've got this. I mean, Lawrence did say, plaudits to the team for the way they put the car together. Trim lines, very minimal, beautiful manufacture. I mean, yeah, that could just be right up there for the quickest time we've seen in regionals so far this year. Yeah, there it was, Nels. What a moment.
What a time.
What a time, what a moment, what a car. Because I think we said at the end there, we hope that Blackout have a clean slate in scrutineering, and I think you can give us the official verdict, which is what?
100% clean sheet. Full score. Well done.
Wow. Yeah, there it is. Absolutely well done. Congratulations. I mean, Nels, we're singing the praises of the winners, the national finalists, the fastest car there, and singing the praises of the teams who've walked away with awards. But I think it's a good time, just a point in the show, to remind ourselves again of the momentous achievement that has been from every single team just to get to the regional finals in 2021.
Exactly. It's really important to say, of course, we need to praise the winners, but all the other teams that almost got there, but something still needs to be improved. I mean, this is for you guys. Don't ever give up. This is just the beginning of a journey. And you, by participating, you're already doing tons more than other teams that didn't have the courage to enter the competition. So now it's about to analyze what went not wrong, but not as good as you guys were hoping to. Where can you improve? Try and make the car a little bit faster. Make sure you read the rules and regulations carefully to avoid any performance failures or any other key regulations, like for example weight, because remember, if a car comes underweight, it needs to take ballast on. So it's just, everything can be avoided if you work as a team, if you put on the time, and I'm sure you will do better.
Yeah, good words from you, Nelson. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? I think everybody enters F1 in schools thinking that winning it is the be-all and end-all, and it's all about winning. But it's just not the case, is it? We see people, and I mean, Lawrence was one of those people, stood there and said to us, with pride beaming out of his face, that their car was 35th at the World Finals, 35th quickest. I mean, most people would look at that as an absolute defeat. But Lawrence was not only was it 35th there, they stood third on the podium. Again, being on the podium is an amazing feeling. Lawrence is one of those people who just, you tick every single positive out of that, and so did the rest of his team. Rather than looking at it and going, oh, third, but we could have won. 35th, oh, the car's not very quick. Every single step of the way, that team, Lawrence, his teammates, were learning learning exactly what they do, the impact of the work they'd done and working out what had gone well, what hadn't gone well, and the whole experience you guys need to think of as this learning experience. Yes, it would be amazing to win it, but think how much useful knowledge you gain by not winning it, but seeing what you could do differently next time.
And like we said dozens of times during the shows, it's not just about the car.
No, it's not.
It's about all of the project elements that you guys work on, from the verbals to your engineering, to your marketing strategy, to your project management skills, to your quality of manufacture and racing.
Yeah, absolutely, Nelson. Well, Nelson, that's a nice little wrap up, I think, for all the teams, and genuinely, guys, we mean that. You're all rock stars, you're all superstars in our eyes. Let's have a quick look, though, now at the final race time leaderboards from all the classes. I think it'd be interesting just to see, because obviously we never normally see the regional finals raced on the same track, in the same room, in the same environment, with the same atmosphere, in such a sort of condensed time. We normally have this spread out across 2 months, even 3 months sometimes, and gauging the speeds of the cars against each other is kind of immaterial. But this time, we've got a unique sort of comparison, haven't we, Nel? So, all the cars pretty much going head to head on the same track, on the same conditions.
The same conditions, yeah.
At the same time. So let's take a look now, combining all the regions together at the class overall leaderboards for performance. Now this, we're going to see first of all the entry class final top 10 leaderboard. So here it is, Nels. And there it is, Nels, the final entry class leaderboard. And yeah, there it was, Aerotech at the top there with that incredible time. 1.292 for an entry class car, but we said at the time how quick that was. Just look how close Blue Wyvern got to them in the end.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see how entry class teams are just showing that they are ready for the next class.
Yeah,
I mean, really fast times.
I was just thinking, Nels, if you look back maybe five or 6 years, those times wouldn't look out of place on a pro or a dev class leaderboard. I mean, they are quick times, and real proof that, like you say, the entry class teams are really getting the bit between their teeth now. And setting themselves up perfectly for the next stage of the competition, which of course is the dev class. So let's have a quick look now where the teams stacked up. And there it was. So Scotland and Vortex taking top honours in the dev class speed leaderboards at least. I mean, quite a significant chunk actually. If you look at the distances between the other teams, the gaps are actually quite small from second down. But really, Vortex up there, pretty much in a league of one. Really impressive performance, all the way down to the 1.276 from Phantom. Again, that's a time that wouldn't look out of place on that last entry class leaderboard. So really quite tight, but a nice progression between the dev and the entry teams.
You know what, Vortex with some bearings, and they are almost there for pro class.
Yeah, well, you said at the time, didn't you? They've got the makings of a pro class car, Vortex. Yeah. So yeah, you can tell that a huge amount of R&D's gone into that. But really, well done to all the teams on the board there. You can see a joint 6th, Nels. A little bit of trivia for you. Velocity and Mach 1 there on the exact same time. Best time of a 1.265. So yeah, coming out joint 6th overall in the leaderboard. Well, that's the entry and the dev class. Now let's have a look at the final pro class leaderboard, just to remind ourselves where the cars stacked up. And there we have it. It's Blackout on top. I mean, only just, Nels. Again, those margins, those gaps, so small at the top. Blackout, Eclipse, SPA Avidity, Nebula, Imperium, really, there's not really a point where you can say that that's a golfing class. I mean, every single team in the top 10 is just in and around the 1.1 to 1.05. That is, I'm mega impressed, Nels.
Really
with
impressive
the teams this year. Those times, the World Finals that we've just seen didn't really do much to improve on those times, did it? I mean, we're looking at some properly quick cars here in the UK.
And again, there's always margin to improve. So I guess, guys, it's just looking in terms of what can we do to improve on our car, do those little tweaks, and go for it on the national final, because you are going to be one small step away from the world finals.
From the really big one, yeah. I guess it's a case of, I mean, every team probably now's got to regionals this year, and I think especially this year, probably knowing that they hadn't fulfilled every single thing they wanted to do, because obviously your build-up was so distracted and disrupted. But all those little things that you think you wanted to do now, I mean, just get on with them, crack on now. All those little lessons that you learned along the way, or things that you didn't quite finish, start putting them in place now.
I think especially testing. I think teams struggled with testing, having access to the tracks, to all the equipment that they wanted. So now maybe that's the final stage. in their preparation. So good luck for your preparations and your journey to the national.
Yeah, absolutely. It all starts here. Or next year's competition, of course, next year's regional finals, which, of course, teams can get going on right away. Now then, Nelson, a little bit of a difference this year with the whole build-up has been, obviously, we haven't seen any teams in person, which has meant that one particular person has had to do quite a lot of emailing, probably more emailing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably even more emailing than usual. And I guess it's only, understandable that every once in a while the odd email goes out with just a little error in it, and it's a case of trying to be honest with people and just say, look, sorry about the last email that went out. I made a bit of a whoopsie, and this is what it should have said. And maybe every once in a while that happens. Of course, with regional finals this year, I mean, mate, the pressure was on big time. We're in a tiny team in a small office with a lot of work to do, and I, luckily enough, it wasn't down to me to pick up these errors, because I had an army, Nelson, an army of people behind the scenes, all pointing out when I had something in an email going awry. And these were all my emails to the teams to correct my errors, because I had, of course, the Smartypants army behind me, Nelson, the whole time, giving it. I think you'll find, Mark, the last email received clearly stated that. So what I thought we'd do, instead of just going sorry every time, I made a bit of a joke out of it. And in my first email to the teachers to sort of say, hands up, I made a bit of a botch there, I decided to award some teacher points to the teacher who came up with the response, who flagged it to me. Basically saying, thanks for that. I'm going to give you some sarcastic points to go to the Smartypants leaderboard. And of course, the prize for the Smartypants leaderboard was made up at the time. It wasn't real because I didn't have a prize. So your prize is the pride and honour, really. It's the pride and honour of being the Regional Finals 2021 Smartypants. It wasn't just a joke. I was adding the points up the whole time. I was keeping an actual score. Why did that? I don't know why I did that. I had more important things to do, but it seemed important at the time. So Nelson, do you want to see the final
I do.
Smartypants leaderboard and find out which teacher is taking home the pride and the glory of being this year's Regional Finals 2021 Smartypants? And here we have it, and in joint first place, Nelson, it is Liz Banks and Sarah Heaps, with 20 points each. Look at that. Oh, massive Smartypantses. A couple of standout performers there. Phil Harvey from Queen Elizabeth's. Actually, Phil, you don't really deserve any of those points because it was all Eclipse. They did the hard work for you on your behalf, telling me where they'd spotted a little grammar error in one of my emails. Joe Wright from the home school there, tied with Michael Kavanagh on 10 points. And then Jessica and Lisa at the bottom there. I mean, really good effort, but just do a little bit better next time to try and catch me out. Try a bit harder, please. But yeah, Liz and Sarah there, Nelson, joint first place. I mean, Liz, actually, you benefited there from a triple error spot bonus point because she spotted that many of my small little errors that I just decided to give her some bonus points. So that is why Liz is right up there. And Sarah, I think, spotted the clanger of all clangers, which was that I'd asked the teams for a 5-page enterprise portfolio for the primary class and the entry class, which of course isn't even a thing. So yeah, teams and teachers, please do excuse my occasional lapse of judgment there in the emails, but yeah, thank you for all pointing out the errors of my ways. Thank you for your patience as well. Thank you for taking it all very well-natured indeed. It's been a lot of fun.
I think this just means that they care.
Well, I mean, I'd like to think so, but yeah, it's not an excuse, but we turned it into a bit of fun in the end, and I think no harm was done. Now, Nelson, in terms of doing no harm, the people in the studio this year that did absolutely no harm to our reputation, of course, were our amazing studio experts, because they rocked up with, I mean, we're talking zero TV experience, zero presenting experience, other than regional finals, other than having to stand and, chat in front of us at regionals, national finals, and world finals too, but never in front of a camera, never in a studio environment before. We just wanted to say a massive thank you, first of all, didn't we, Nels, to our 3 studio guests, to Molly Ganner, to Louise Murray, and to Lawrence Vines. You 3 have been absolutely exquisite throughout this whole episode, really, of filming these regional finals. So yeah, just for myself and Nelson, and for the whole of F1 in Schools, thank you so much for basically just slotting in and being proper out-of-the-box professionals. So we thought we'd just take a little quick look back at some of your best bits. While Nelson chokes down a novelty chocolate lollipop, it is time to meet our studio expert, because it is none other than the man himself, the one and only Mr. Lawrence Vines joins in the studio. Lawrence, great to have you. It's probably a good time to introduce our studio guests. We're joined here, as I said, today by two really quite experienced former competitors in Molly and Louise. Girls, hello, welcome.
Hi.
You happy to be here? Excited?
We're so excited, yeah.
Yeah.
And everything I've said can be reversed for lift. So you just flip that wing on its head and it behaves just the same way.
History, where have you come from to get to here?
So myself and Molly first got involved in F1 in schools almost 4 years ago now. So we competed at the Scottish Regional Finals at the beginning of 2018 as part of a team called Team Accelerate.
Now, I know I've said a lot very quickly and it's all very complex.
Yeah, so there is a noticeable difference. I mean, Molly, is weight kind of like the enemy in F1 in schools? Is that what you're always chasing?
Yeah, so weight you look at quite a lot. We always look to get to the minimum weight as close as you can get.
And this is where our virtual regional finals come into their own, because you can just scroll that bar and watch it again. Yeah, so I hope that helps.
Wow. Well, these were the faces, Mark, because some of the information that they were giving us was just so mind-blowing, but so key and important that I promise you guys, as soon as we have a little bit of time, I will do a compilation of the best moments of all of that technical information and do a video and post it on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we were saying throughout, weren't we? I mean, the input of the alumni, the ex-competitors, is you can't get it anywhere else. It's unparalleled. You know, their unique take on not just how, you know, the science behind Formula One can relate to F1 in schools, but their actual personal experience of turning up and being there in the flesh and, you know, doing the engineering judging, doing the enterprise judging, standing and delivering a verbal presentation, preparing for a World Finals, going and getting sponsors. I mean, it's incredible stuff, and it's all the stories that teams out there want to hear. So yeah, like we've said, we are going to try and put together essentially a kind of, you know, a mini tutorial, a help series, aren't we, with all of the great little clips that we've got from our studio experts. Yeah, so once again, Molly, Louise and Lawrence, thank you so much for being a special part of the F1 in Schools family over the Regional Finals 2021. Now, on this kind of theme now, so I thought we thought it'd be quite nice, didn't we, just to sort of try and explain to people there how we've actually done the regional final, because, you know, people are probably sat at home watching going, oh, well, they're in a TV studio, you know, and there'll be like 5 or 6 people behind there with headphones on and, you know, mixing desks and all sorts of equipment, and there'll be like a script or an auto cue, or there'll be something else. The honest truth, really, Nelson, is quite far from that, isn't it? I mean, should we give people a bit of a sense of what we're looking at in the room around us here in the studio?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, basically, we're looking at a monitor. There's nobody behind it. There's nobody on the other side of it. There's a whole load of automated equipment, and actually what's controlling the show, so what you're seeing, you know, on the screen, what's changing and the animations and everything that's moving is essentially a PowerPoint, and that's being controlled by my right hand. And if you've noticed at any point in the show that my right arm sort of disappears behind a water bottle, it's because this thing is controlling the whole show. This is a Stream Deck. And this has got a button for every function. So for example, we can cut to the PowerPoint slide, we can cut back to me and Nelson, we can cut to Studio Cam 2, and this is all going on while you're watching the show, and it's just kind of happening as if by magic. But that's basically our setup, and we should probably say as well, Nels, we haven't set this up.
No.
This has been set up by John and Idiom Technology, and we've said it at the end of each of the shows, but a huge thank you, because I think the technological know-how to get this set up, and we had teething issues of course, but to get this set up to a point where it has just run could only really have happened with the genius of one man, which is John Fagg. So John, thank you very much again, mate. We couldn't have done this without you. There, big round of applause, John. But no, that's it. I mean,
remember our initial ideas? We'll put a tripod near the track with the iPhone broadcasting live to Facebook, and that was it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll do live Instagram live. Yeah.
Then
Facebook live.
John said, "No, we're going to do it proper."
Yeah. So one thing led to another, and of course, being F1 in schools, we don't like to leave it half baked. So we ended up with this essentially mock TV studio, which is all, you know, it's pro equipment, it's the real gear, but it's Yeah, we're sat here in what is normally a really quite small training room, aren't we, Nels? Which has been completely emptied and turned into a... I'm going to really miss it. I'm going to really miss the studio. I think we should try and keep it together. It's become our kind of our little home in the office, isn't it?
We will be back.
Yes, we will. Yeah, coming to you. Who knows? Maybe coming to you really live next time. So that was, I thought we'd just give you a bit of an insight into what exactly happens in the studio. But we also thought, Nels, it'd be nice to show people what happens outside the studio, but also in kind of the background of the regional finals. So here, just to take a quick look behind the scenes, is a little sneaky take on scrutineering.
Oh, welcome. Welcome to my little scrutineering corner where the magic of measurements happens. I'm just joking, but welcome. And you know, some of the equipment that we have here is just to make sure we are measuring your cars correctly to the rules and regulations. So we always have the rules with us because I'm not the owner of all knowledge, so I need to constantly be checking if I'm measuring your cars correctly. We've through the shows a couple of tips like having some scrutineering gauges, and these you guys can actually print, laser cut them in school. We have them available in our f1inschools.co.uk website. You only need a laser cut and you can use this as your guide for a first check. But let me show you. I have some cars here, so we have some examples on entry class, development class and professional class. But I have a gauge here that is actually used to measure really quickly the length, the maximum length, here we go, and the minimum length of the car. So when I'm measuring the cars, and I always start with the length, if you just go and you do a quick measurement, look at that. So that's an easy pass. And that means that if the car would fit on the minimum, it would fail. So that's a fully compliant car on length. But if the gauge would left me with questions about, am I measuring right? It's looking really close. That's when we go in with professional, in this case, Mitutoyo calipers that we use to professionally get that specific measurement on your car. So look at that, around 205. So fully compliant, the tools have checked it. So for example, we have a height gauge here, we have a professional scale that we always calibrate before weighing your cars. But then not all teams are prepared for the competition, so always a little bag of Featherline guides for the ones who forget, and even some decals to the teams that didn't have the chance to put them on. I mean, look guys, we've tried our very best. We've checked your technical drawings that you guys have submitted. And you know, there's always little things that you guys can do. For example, you can manufacture some no-go zones to make sure that you are doing it correctly in your cars. But look, it's just do your best, get some tools, check and double check your cars before submitting the cars to scrutineering, because with that, you will avoid penalties. So best of luck with that.
Oh, nice little behind the scenes there. I'm sorry we caught you by surprise a bit there, Nelson, or we crept up on you, but yeah, really interesting to see your setup. And I mean, of course, that's just a really rapid little view of what you do in the process, but it takes you quite some time, doesn't it, to process each car?
It was really hard work. I mean, a professional class car may take me between 20-25 minutes to scrutineer, because it needs to be done properly, and we are recording a lot of measurements to help out with the show when we show all of those measurements in the screen. But also for our spreadsheet, and actually tells us if a car is being compliant with any performance regulations or not in a very automated way. But it was really hard work, but it's amazing to see, because that's the first moment where we actually see the work coming in. We receive the cars, all of the judges are doing the assessment remotely, so we haven't really, honestly guys, seen any of your verbal presentations or even portfolios. That's up to the judges. But we did see, I've seen all of your cars, and they looked amazing. And then the racing. So and from my side, on the scrutineering side, very well done. And have a look at our racing shows, because there was a lot of tips given throughout the shows since how you can tackle the weight or any manufacturing issues.
Yeah, it's a good point actually, Nels. I mean, we do talk because we're not working off a script here, are we? We do mention lots of little nuggets of information throughout different stages of different videos. So it is probably worth sitting and watching as many of those regional final race videos as you can. There is a playlist set up on YouTube and it's on the F1 in Schools UK YouTube channel under Regional Finals 2021. So have a watch through all those videos and yeah, see if there's any more little nuggets that you can pick out from myself or Nelson.
And it's always a good opportunity to analyze the competition.
Oh, exactly, yeah. I mean, what better place
Who
to
are
do
they
it?
going to be against?
Another thing to mention, Nelson. I mean, obviously everyone, when they've been watching the racing, has seen the car comparison screens when they've been going into the racing. But all the measurements at the bottom there, so they're the ones that are collected by you in scrutineering. You don't just measure the car and go tick or cross. It's you measure the cars, you record the actual data, and then that data gets typed into a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is then used to generate those graphics. Yeah. So there's a lot of work in the process. And I think you mentioned just a second ago 25 minutes as if whew, I mean that's a long time. You've been doing this now flat out pretty much at all our events for the last 6 years. So that's some people are probably out there sat there thinking 25 minutes, I can't do it in less than an hour. But I mean you go into autopilot mode, don't you, now with scrutineering?
Yeah, because there's a trick that I use sometimes, and don't freak out about this, but I can look at a car into a specific regulation, and just by looking at it, I can check if it's a pass or a fail. But everything that I need to carefully analyze, it's analyzed with professional equipment, and we do our best to be able to. I mean, it's just a pity to not having the students with us, because what we're going to miss this year is that opportunity by the end of the events when we have the students in front of us and we say, this is where you can improve. But all of the teams are going to receive detailed feedback on your scores, and that you will also know every single failure that you have on scrutineering to be able to amend it.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled for those results coming on email. So scrutineering is obviously one side of the event, Nelson. If you spin around 180 degrees from scrutineering, you of course see the track. Yeah. And the track, of course, is been set up a little bit differently to how we'd normally set it up in a regional final, because of course we're recording your racing. So where normally it's just our eyes and your eyes on the track, we did a little bit more in the background this year, and again thanks to John and Idiom to make the track basically a kind of self-contained recording studio of itself. So here's a quick inside track on the track. Hey guys, so we thought we'd just bring you outside of the studio and show you the racetrack and show you how all the racing's been filmed for the teams throughout the show. So Nels, if you want to follow me this way, it's Nels behind the camera there, you can't see him. This is the track start area. Of course, you're probably used to seeing this, but what you maybe aren't used to seeing is the first camera. So this is cam 1, and Nels, if you want to just spin behind the camera, that's the view you see, first of all, when we see the cars. So you can see we've got lane 1 and 2, your cars will be sat here, and we're looking forward through the start gate. Obviously then, as soon as the action starts to happen, we're looking back at the camera here, so we've got camera number 2, looking back down at the start. Now, if you want to spin round here and just show the guys that little camera view there. So that's as the cars are sat, waiting to race, just in that camera view, and down just to where your knees are there, Nelson. You see this? We've got the microphone, and that is capturing the noise of the car's start. So you hear the psh on track. That's where the mic is, it's recording that sound. So of course, Nels, the track team, that would be our evil twins, Lark and Gelson, as we referred to. Obviously, Lark, Weems, Holden and Gelson Vale are really useful, helpful twins in this whole process. Will be setting the cars up. Obviously, the canisters are just in the fridge below, which is set to a constant 21, 22 degrees C. That just monitors itself constantly. The start gate goes, and the teams are sitting, waiting patiently as their cars wait effectively for the pods to launch them. So the automatic racing means that there's no reaction times involved. We haven't preloaded any times in. Those pods at the exact same time fire the cars down the track, and at that point now, so you're going to follow me, we're going to go down the track, mind the speed bump there. Cars are coming racing down the first section. This is where they meet the first sector gate, and that's the one that Lawrence was talking about quite a lot in the show. We've got under there, you can just see now, sort of cheeky camera pointing down underneath there. If you just pan down underneath the track, and that's where camera number 3 is waiting to catch the teams, and of course there's a little microphone here as well. You hear the cars rumbling down the track, and that's because this is picking up that sound. So carry on, Nels, keep going. We come to the finish, and this is where the cruise phase happens. So we've done the launch phase, we're now into the cruise phase. This was the bit Lawrence was talking about, so much about aerodynamics and drag really playing a big part. Then we get the back of the start, so the finish line camera looking back into the finish. That is the final view you see. You might occasionally have got a glimpse of this camera, which is just pointing back down the track, waiting for the cars to come into the finish, and of course that crucial microphone at the end, Nelson, which records that hopefully nice into the brushes, not the of a car crumpling to pieces. And of course then the cars later rest in the deceleration system around about here. And of course all the canisters that come out of the cars are then recycled. They're kept in this bin for now, and then they're going to be recycled. And that is how the racing's been done. Every single race has been recorded as live. Every single race was run once. The track has been in constant operation pretty much throughout the whole show. And that's basically it, folks. That's how we've captured the racing footage. Well, there you have it. That was the track now. So it's yeah, it's become a bit of a second home to us, hasn't it? This whole sort of split studio thing, and you know, like we said in the two videos there, we've done everything we could this year, haven't we, to try and make sure that the regional finals are run honestly, they're run, you know, transparently, and this is part of, you know, why we're showing people exactly how we've done them. You know, we've tried to do everything as if we were there with you, but obviously we've just not had you in the building with us. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been something that I think we'd repeat if we had to, but I think we'd prefer physical events, wouldn't we?
Yes, definitely. I mean, this was the best we could do in the circumstances. Yeah. But have no doubt that we did everything in terms of procedures like if it was a normal live event.
Yeah, absolutely. And even you mentioned it before, the judging. So the judging has been going on remotely around the whole country, and it's our usual network of judges. And in fact, actually, Nels, probably more judges than we've ever had before. I think probably the flexibility of being able to judge from home this time remotely has allowed a few more people who perhaps haven't been available before
to join,
to step up and take part in the judging team. And that's all happened. Actually, a lot of the feedback from the judges has been that it's allowed them to take more time to properly digest the work this year. So I mean, yeah, from my point of view, I think I'm happier that we've assessed the work as thoroughly as possible, probably better than ever.
You know, I'm just glad that they are never going to be able to see what went wrong. You know, the time that the light projected fell and hit us in the head. Or,
Nelson, if only we hadn't inserted a video. Because actually, folks, we are going to show you when it went wrong. Well, it's not all gone wrong, is it? It's just the times that either it did go wrong or we just forgot the cameras were rolling, and it made us laugh a bit. So we thought, just for a bit of a giggle, and because not everything's gone perfectly, we thought we'd just show you our Regional Finals 2021 Blooper Reel. Back to me in the studio. Now, prize judging forms a central part of a team's point score. Teams produce a portfolio. Microphones are on. That's us. That's Lawrence. Hi, Lawrence. I'm an engineer. Hello, it's me and Nelson. We're idiots. Cut to the PowerPoint. Play the music. That
has to be the F1
song. Hello and welcome to the South Regional Final for F1 in Schools 2021. Nelson, thank you. Bon dia, auf Wiedersehen, guten Tag, schutti ploof and floppity ploppity. Here we are for some stuff to talk about some things, over some music, and then a thing for the screen. Right, that'll do. Wave goodbye, Lawrence. Bye, Lawrence. Hello. Testing. Okay, the mics weren't on. Let's do that from the start.
Now that's slightly under the minimum wage for the class, and everyone's giving me funny looks, and I realise so
50 grand.
Move it over, Lauren. Eclipse from Queen Elizabeth's Grammar School. Well done, Eclipse.
I have a trophy in my hand. Come on.
Sorry, Eclipse, there's no award for you. You haven't won it. Oh, never mind. There's always next year.
Right.
Cut. F1 in Schools. F1 in Schools is a global STEM challenge, working with industry partners to provide...
Oh, lovely. You know, Nelson, it's times like this I just think what a lovely, 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 lovely job we have, you know. Oh, lovely. You know what I love more than anything else, Nelson? I love those times where we just sat here in an office late on a Friday night. I mean, who needs to go home and see the family? Who needs to eat? Who needs to sleep, Nelson? Who needs to breathe outside fresh air when they can have dusty factory air, Nelson?
Come on, who are the winners?
I love it, I do. I love it.
Should we get on with it?
The memories.
Oh dear me. Yeah. It's been fun, hasn't it?
Look, this is the best way and the honest way to say that we're not professionals in this, and things go wrong. And considering, I think we've produced some really good shows.
Yeah, I think we're happy with it. But Nels, we've said it before, umpteen times. It ain't about us, guys. It's about you lot. It's about the teams. It's about the judges. It's about the teachers. It's about the schools. But it's about those individuals doing this project in the schools, because you are F1 in schools. You what make this whole thing worth doing from us, from our point of view, from F1 in schools' point of view. For your school's point of view, it is everything, and it's all you. So yeah, we've said it countless times already now. So we've done it enough times that I've got little blisters on my palms now. But should we give everybody a last round of applause from us here in the studio?
Definitely.
For a regional finals 2021 sign out, a massive round of applause. Woo woo woo! Yeah, everybody, you've done it. Congratulations. We'll see you next time. Who knows, maybe we'll be in a studio now, so we're making more fools out of ourselves. But if we're not, we'll be there in a physical event making even more fools out of ourselves in person. So we cannot wait to see you again, folks. Take care, and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.